Well, Pope Benedict left on summer holidays this week, leaving behind a controversial move. He's approved a document that declares Catholicism the one true faith and above all other Christian churches.
According to the Vatican, though, not all of God's children worship in the right place. A 16-page document issued today reasserts the universal primacy of the Roman Catholic Church over all other Christian denominations. There is but one true church, it states. All others are pale imitations. For example, other Christian communities like Protestant denominations cannot be called churches in the proper sense, the text says, because they cannot trace their bishops back to Christ's original apostles. The text also states that while Orthodox churches can be considered churches, they are still inferior because they do not recognize the primacy and the infallibility of the Pope.
Now, I strongly advise that you listen intently to the next few words that are going to come out of my mouth, because they are of the most grave importance to every man, woman, and child on the face of this globe. On November 28th, 2007, this very little known of article that I'm holding in my hand was published, revealing an official statement coming out of the Vatican. The title of this article is Holy See Insists That It Has the Right to Speak. Listen closely. The human being has dignity and a transcendent dimension, and this is why an independent moral authority such as the Holy See has a role to play in international organizations, says an official of the Vatican Secretary of State. Monsignor Pietro Parolin, Undersecretary for Relations with the States for the Vatican, goes on to state that the Catholic Church is the only religious institution that can enter into diplomatic relations and is the only one that interests itself in international rights, acting through the Holy See, an independent, sovereign subject of singular characteristics. The Catholic Church is the Holy Father himself, inasmuch as he is an independent, universal, and spiritual authority, together with the organization of the Roman Cura that collaborate with him in his mission. The Holy See thus requires a particular status, such as that given by the definition of subject sua juris, meaning the Holy See defines for itself its jurisdictional organization and does not receive it from the outside, and as such can enter into relations with all other states. Listen closely. If the Holy See wishes to place itself as an independent interlocutor of the states and to express an authorized judgment about the problems that affects lives, it is because it thinks that it represents a dimension of man that, although is decisive in the lives of societies, is not fully under the jurisdiction of the states and does not end in them. Listen closely. There exists, the Monsignor affirms, something that goes above and beyond the material element. The key, he explained, is the dignity of men, which is prior to the existence of the state. Respect for his dignity is the thermometer of the legitimacy and justice of any legal norm. And this dignity of the individual has an essential element, the transcendent dimension. Listen closely. If man did not transcend the material dimension, there would be no sufficient reason for the respect of his dignity to be over and above national interests. This pre-existence and independence of the dignity of the individual, and more concretely, the transcendent dimension is the ultimate justification for the existence of a sovereign moral authority independent of the states. As a consequence, the Holy See, in its international activity, without interfering in the realms and responsibilities proper to the state, proposes itself as the guardian of the human person and religious liberty. Now, I am positive that the majority of you out there don't even have a clue what this agent of the Vatican was talking about in this article. And this is because he carefully chose the most encrypted vocabulary words that he could think of in an attempt to make the papacy's evil scheming designs appear to be like some hot, warm Cinnabon that you just want to gobble up. But I assure you, there is nothing sweet about what this man was implying. Let me simplify for you the mayhem of their statements. The papacy is saying in this article that there is more to you and I as human beings than just our physical bodies and our physical strength. And this other aspect, this other part of man, the papacy defines as our dignity. And it is this dignity that we all have by right because we're human beings. And it is also this same dignity that we have that makes us respect the rights of other human beings. This very same dignity contains another essential element, another very important piece that transcends, which means it excels and goes above and beyond the civil power of the state to govern or rule over. And not only that, but the papacy also claims that this other dimension of our own dignity also transcends, goes above and beyond our own ability to govern and rule over. And it is because of these reasons that the papacy insists that the governing bodies of this world must establish a sovereign, moral governing institution to rule over this dimension of man. And if you weren't listening closely to the article I was sharing with you earlier, then you didn't realize that Monsignor Pietro Parolin made it more than clear that the Pope and his lackeys, which make up the Holy See, are the only independent, sovereign, moral authority on the face of this globe that have the ability to hold this position. So the question is, what is it that the papacy is proposing to the governing bodies of this world to give them the power to rule over in us?